The Nike Zoom All-Out Flyknit pairs a comfortable sock-like upper with full-length, visible zoom for some serious cushioning. Let's take a look. Hey all, what is up? Reese here, and I've got a brand new sneaker review for you. What we're looking at today is the Nike Zoom All-Out Flyknit. This is the total orange, white, and anthracite colorway, and this silhouette debuted back in June of 2016 with a retail price of $170. Now, as we're going through this video, I'd love for you to leave a comment down below and just kind of let me know your thoughts on the Zoom All-Out Flyknit. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and finally, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of my latest videos. Just last week, I reviewed the LunarEpic Flyknit from Nike, and the Zoom All-Out shares a lot of features with that shoe. You've got a very similar full Flyknit upper with the same type of higher cut collar that really fits pretty snug on the ankle, and then that's sitting on top of one of Nike's flagship cushioning systems. With the LunarEpic, of course, you've got a dual density Lunarlon setup, and then here we've got this nearly full length visible or max zoom bag. I really have loved my time with the LunarEpic Flyknit. It's one of my favorite shoes, both in terms of styling and also for running, and so I was really intrigued by this pair and really what the visible zoom unit would add in terms of cushioning. I've got to say, so far I'm pretty impressed with these in terms of like wearing them casually. There is one important thing to note though, and that's that I won't actually be running in this pair. That's really due to one main issue. Nike touts these as being a very fast and responsive shoe, but one area where they're severely lacking is overall stability. Now, in my review of the LunarEpic Flyknit, I did mention stability, specifically that it might be a little weird in the first 2 or 3 runs. The primary reason for that, though, at least as far as I can tell, is the Flyknit upper that, as I mentioned, is pretty much just pure Flyknit, so you don't have, fuse overlays, you don't have any sort of caging or kind of extra structure, and so your foot has a lot more room to move around, and that can kind of feel weird. On top of that, with the Zoom All-Out, however, you actually have this zoom bag adding some more instability at the heel. It's a fairly low profile zoom unit, but there is enough kind of room for compression there that when you're landing on it, especially if you're not dead center with your heel, so if you're a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, what you'll end up doing is really compressing the airbag on that side, and it kind of collapses the shoe for a little bit on that side, and you can get, in the worst case scenario, you end up with kind of like a rolled ankle, but even if that's not what's happening, you still get kind of that sensation like you're about to roll your ankle, which isn't ideal for a running shoe and definitely isn't something I was looking for. Now, this is a very comfortable setup for walking around. It's just unfortunate that there isn't more of kind of like an outrigger setup maybe, where it's a little bit wider of a base, or something that they could have done to kind of temper that there at the heel. Now, this might not be a huge concern for you, or maybe it's not even a problem for you, but it is definitely something that I know a lot of people have mentioned. And so if you are interested in this shoe for running, I would highly recommend, going to a store and trying them on, finding some place where you can get them for 30 days or 90 days before you would have to return them, just so you can actually find out if they're right for you and if you enjoy kind of running in them and if you don't mind that sensation. But with all that said, we'll dive now into a close-up view and take a look at the colors, materials, and everything going on with this sneaker. We'll kick things off with a look at the upper, and this shoe features a predominantly Flyknit construction that doesn't have a lot of backing materials. You don't have a lot of fuse or nylon or anything like that provides additional kind of support or structure for the shoe. And so that really lets the Flyknit kind of shine. But because of that, you do have a fairly non-stretchy implementation of Flyknit, just again so that the shoe will keep its shape and you're not kind of going out over the sides of the footbed or anything like that. If we take a look at the toe box, you can see a more open section with a lot of perforations for breathability. But then as we wrap down around kind of the edge, you've got a much tighter knitting pattern that provides some durability in those areas where your foot's going to be putting a lot of pressure on the shoe as you're walking or running in the sneaker. Up along the sides, then you've got kind of these sections of perforations with some tighter stitching. You can see flywire cables poking up. They form the basis of the lacing system and just help you get a little better lockdown beyond what the Flyknit alone can provide. The tongue actually does feature a pretty stretchy knit of Flyknit, and that just, again, allows you to get a better fit as you're slipping them on and really get them snug down the way that you would like. I love this pattern where it's got just basically two colors on the Flyknit upper, but instead of kind of mixing them throughout, you've got them separated with the orange at the front, the gray at the heel, and then this kind of cool pattern as they kind of mix in together. Just got a white swoosh right there. Up at the top of the tongue, you've got your Nike badge with Zoom All Out branding as well. At the heel, you have the one area where we have any sort of overlay. You've got fuse right here, basically forming the heel cup on both sides. Then we also have this one strip of fabric that covers up the seam of the one-piece upper. Although the collar isn't exactly the same as what we see on the LunarEpic Flyknit, it's the exact same principle. You've got a very stretchy Flyknit, and the idea is that it really hugs your ankle and gives you a snug fit so that you're not kind of flopping up and down and out of the shoe. And then it also helps to deliver what Nike calls a vanishing fit. And that's something that sounds really gimmicky, but in my experiences running in the LunarEpic Flyknit, it's actually something that you can start to experience. And basically the idea is that you've got this snug fit that is really more kind of like a sock, and then that combined with the Flyknit that isn't, backed by a lot of other materials or, a cage or anything like that that's providing support and kind of that you can feel on your foot, you really kind of get that sock-like experience where it's easy to forget that you're actually wearing a shoe. Looking at the midsole now, for this midsole top line, you've got a foam section right there with a gradient fade from gray to orange. Below that, you do have your visible zoom unit. There's Nike Zoom branding right there. It's hard to see in there because it's kind of like a smoked black finish, but you can, in person, see those kind of visible zoom threads that make this very obviously different from something like Air Max cushioning. One thing to note is that this isn't truly like full length zoom cushioning. You can see it runs all the way from the heel to right about under the toes, and then you've got a more traditional foam right there. If we flip to the outsole, you've got a mostly translucent outsole. The translucent part is under the zoom unit. You've got your swoosh right there. You've got kind of an updated waffle traction pattern with pentagons all the way throughout. And then you've got a similar pattern up here just on this regular foam section. And you can see you've got some grooves there. So the main reason for having this separate section where the zoom unit does not go all the way is just for a little added flexibility there at the toe. Now, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to leave a comment and just let me know what you think about the Zoom All Out Flyknit. Is this something you would consider running in? Do you prefer them casually? Do you just not like the shoe? I'd love to hear that down below. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.